So, Tasha, are you curious to know what yoga philosophy is all about?
Well, what more could it be than the usual asanas, pranayam, and meditative techniques, and also chanting of mantras?
I know, I have seen those dozens of videos on YouTube, people doing complex and weird postures. I think it would require a lot of flexibility and strength. Honestly, I have a question that is yoga philosophy really accessible to everyone, even those who don't really follow a religion?
I know, right? Yoga is so popularized today, and all these reels come up with people promising cured diseases, weight loss, and whatnot.
But you know what I wonder? Is this really what Patanjali meant when he compiled the school of yoga?
Well, we will have to fact check them and know more about them.
Hello. What were you discussing?
So, ma'am, we were discussing how yoga is.
Hold on. It's not yoga, it's yoga. Generally people have this misconception and they call yoga as yoga. It's not so. The word is yoga.
Okay, sorry. So, ma'am, we were discussing how yoga is related only to asanas and pranayam, how popularized it is today, and whether is it really ascribed to a particular religion.
Definitely not. So, coming to your first question, whether yoga is connected to only asanas and pranayam, it is not so. Patanjali, who is the founder of yoga, has given the whole philosophy for everyone, and it includes so many aspects, not just asanas and pranayam. There are plenty of other things that we are going to talk about today.
Oh.
And now, coming to your second question, is yoga related to a particular religion or is it ascribed by a particular religion? The answer is no. Yoga is a philosophy, it's a school of philosophy, and as a result, it doesn't come from any particular religion. And therefore, anyone and everyone who wants to do yoga can do yoga irrespective of their religion.
Now, how would you say Patanjali describes yoga in his Yoga Sutras?
So, Patanjali in his Yoga Sutras defines yoga as Yogaschitta Vritti Nirodha. So, if you look at the words carefully, you will find that there are three words: yoga, chitta vritti, nirodha. So, let's try and understand each of the word. Chitta is mind. Patanjali in fact describes chitta as mana, buddhi and ahankara. So, it's not just mind as we know, as we generally know it, but it's a combination of mana, buddhi as well as ahankara. And chitta vritti is, okay, let me give you all an example. Have you thrown a pebble in water sometimes?
Yeah.
What happens when we throw a pebble?
There are
Ripples, yeah.
Correct. Now imagine your mind like a lake. And someone when says something, it's like a pebble thrown in the lake. And as a result, we have lots of chittavrittis, lots of thoughts and so many ideas that come to us. Right? And what happens is that these ideas, these thoughts keep constantly disturbing our mind, making it constantly full of ripples. And Patanjali says that Nirodha needs to be achieved. Nirodha means cessation or stopping. So these chitta vrittis or mental modifications have to be completely stopped. And that is when you achieve yoga. So do you want to know more about yoga?
Yes.
Definitely.
So Patanjali in the first chapter as well as in the second chapter, in fact throughout the Yoga Sutras, talks about lot of methods by which we can achieve what he calls as yoga. Let's go a little more in details of the word yoga itself. The word yoga comes from the Sanskrit root yuja, which means to join or to connect. Now you may wonder, whose union are we talking about? What exactly is this union? So this union is between the Jivatma and Paramatma, the individual self and the cosmic self. Again, a question that would pop up in your head is, why this union? What's so special about this union?
Yeah.
This union between the Jivatma and Paramatma is nothing but liberation. This is the highest goal which has been given in every school of philosophy, including yoga. So, yoga needs to be performed to reach to that spiritual height, to reach to samadhi or liberation. And throughout the Yoga Sutras, Patanjali talks about various kinds of methods by way of which we can reach samadhi. Yoga philosophy, my professor always used to say that yoga philosophy is like a buffet. When we go for a buffet, there are lots of dishes, different stalls offering different kinds of cuisine, right? But we go only to those stalls which we like, which
Yes.
are suitable to our temperament, our likings. Similarly, Patanjali gives lots of choices to everyone, every follower. Depending on what is your temperament, depending on her temperament, you can choose whichever path, because ultimately the destination is just the same.
Okay.
So, in the second chapter of yoga, Patanjali talks about an interesting method. Do you want to know about it?
Yes.
Do you remember last time I had told you that he talks about something called as eightfold paths?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, eightfold path is nothing but the 8 steps that we all can follow in order to reach samadhi. The 8 steps are yama, niyama, asana, pranayam, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and ultimately samadhi. So, let's talk about all these limbs of yoga.